Testing. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 2. Testing. So if you still want to go Friday night, they'll move over for you.
Testing.
I was a highwayman, along the coast roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade. The masters hung me in the spring of 25. But I am still alive.
I was a sailor, I was born upon the tide. With the sea I did abide. I sailed the schooner around the Horn of Mexico. I went along with the world that makes a little blow. And when the yards broke off, they said that I got killed. But I'm living still. I was a dam builder across the river deep and wide, where steel and water did collide. A place called Boulder on the wild Colorado. I slipped and fell into the wet concrete below. They buried me in that great tomb that knows no sound. But I'm still around. I'll always be around, around, and around, and around, and around. Our last starship crossed the universe divide, and when I reach the other side, I'll find a place to rest my spirit if I can. Perhaps I may become a highwayman again, or I may simply be a single drop of rain. But I will remain. I'll be back again and again and again and again and again and again.
Good morning everyone and welcome. Before we begin, could I ask, if you haven't already done so, to switch off your phones or pop them onto silent just for the next little bit? That would be much appreciated. Well, welcome to you all as we gather in memory of Billy, and a warm welcome to those joining us via the live stream. On behalf of Billy's family, thank you for being here today. They appreciate the friendship and the support that surrounds them, and they are grateful you could be here to remember and celebrate Billy's life. Billy was a proud Aboriginal man of the Yuin Nation. For the past 40 years, he has lived here on Gunakurnai country, and the family would like to acknowledge the traditional lands, the waters and people of the Gunakurnai country. Billy loved this country, from the oceans to the lakes and the rivers, to the bushlands of the Trust and all the way through the Alpines. We're gathering here today to celebrate Billy's life on the traditional lands of the Gunakurnai people. We pay our respects to elders past, present and future, and to acknowledge the love and respect Billy had for this country and its people. Well, we come together this morning to honour the life of William Edward Squires, known simply as Billy. A loved father, grandfather and great-grandfather, a respected brother, uncle and friend. However you all knew Billy, you would have experienced the highs and lows that came with loving him. And while his journey had its challenges, today is about remembering the good times, acknowledging the life he lived and spending time with people who loved him. This service for Billy is filled with mixed emotions, sadness as we gather to say goodbye, but it's also a day that carries special significance. Today would have been Billy's 80th birthday, and it feels fitting that we are gathered here not only to celebrate his life, but also to mark this milestone together. Billy's passing came after a difficult period with failing health, and knowing his recent struggles are over, I hope can bring you all some comfort. Instead of focusing on the sadness of his passing, this time we spend together is a chance to share memories and stories, remembering the qualities that made Billy who he was, and acknowledge that we were lucky to have known him. Billy had a gift for making friends wherever he went, and I'm sure if he could, he would thank each and every one of you here today for being such an important part of his life. Billy was the beloved son of Jean and Jack, the much-loved big brother of Daphne, Anne, Ernie, David, Jimmy, Robert, Margaret, Michael and Doris, the loving ex-husband of Beverly, the loved father of Scott, Darren, Tracy, Joanne, Suzanne and Sean. He was a proud grandfather of 17 grandchildren and great-grandfather of 5 great-grandchildren. On a day like today, it's important that we acknowledge family who are no longer with us. Billy's parents, Jean and Jack, his son Scott, his sisters Daphne and Doris, and his brother Michael. Though they are no longer with us in person, their love remains a part of us today and always. Well, everyone here this morning will have shared your own connection with Billy, and I feel certain the common theme throughout your memories and stories will be of a man who was a bit of a lovable larrikin, who was a little bit cheeky, who was a lot stubborn, and he was a real straight shooter. Billy had no filter. He told you as it was. He was also a bit of a storyteller, and he's well known in many parts of Australia as a real Aussie larrikin who loved a cold one and being surrounded by people he loved. Hard-working, generous and always willing to lend a hand to those who needed it, Billy was someone people were naturally drawn to, and there wouldn't be many who had a bad word to say about him. Of course, I'm sure everyone here would know that fishing was his thing, and he was a master, I was told, of pole and line fishing. He loved cricket, boxing, darts and having a bet. He followed the Swans in the AFL, and he liked watching the NRL rugby, and of course he loved a beer or 2 or 3. One thing Billy that was always very proud of was his Aboriginal heritage, and he found joy in the simple things: his family, the bush, the sea, and being on country. The following is a eulogy that's been written by Billy's family, and it's just a few things that they remember about his life. William Squires, or Billy as he was known, was born on the 4th of August 1946 in Sydney. His mother, Jean, was young when Billy was born, so Billy's great-grandparents, Ma and Party, took him in as their own. Billy's early childhood was spent with Ma and Party in Mogo and at Brearley's homestead on the Maria River Flats, adjacent from Garland Town. The homestead is where the foundation for Billy's life began. Being surrounded by a strong sense of family and discovering his great loves, fishing, hunting and connection to country. Billy was raised Catholic, and he made his first Holy Communion with his Auntie Paulette and Auntie Yvonne. He attended Newstead Primary School at South Heads, Maruga, where he had to row a boat to school each day. He was a bit of a rascal, and it came as no surprise that Billy didn't really like the discipline that was required at school. When he was young, Billy enjoyed running through the bush, climbing trees, making up games, riding his bike up the hills close to home, and of course fishing, all typical boy stuff. When he was 13, Party passed away, and Ma struggled to raise a rambunctious young teenager. So Billy went to live with his mother Jean and his stepdad Jack Squires, along with his siblings. As a young teen, Billy would attend the Police Boys Club, where he discovered he had a natural ability for boxing. As an amateur, he was undefeated, and he was given the opportunity to go professional, but instead of attending the interview with the trainer, he went rabbit hunting with the Holmes family. It was sometime after this that Billy began fishing professionally, first with Gu and Esme Holmes at Womboyne, and then with Mario Basile and in Ulladulla. With fishing, Billy really did find his happy place, and after fishing with Mario, he spent many years fishing on boats around Australia, but his favourite boat was always the Roslyn Star. A brief encounter in the early 70s, Billy's first son, Scott, was born in 1973. In 1974, he then met Bev, the love of his life. They married in 1978 and they had 5 children together. From the very beginning, Billy and Bev moved around a lot with Billy's fishing. They spent time in Eden, then moved to Mornington, where Darren was born, back to Eden, where Tracy was born, then over to Port Lincoln, where Joe was born. In 1983, they finally settled here in Lakes Entrance, and Susie and Sean were the last additions to the family. In late 1984, Billy had a bad accident on a fishing boat and nearly lost his leg. He spent a length of time in hospital, and sadly this saw the end of his professional fishing days. He then went on to work at the Lake Tyers Aboriginal Trust on the wood crew. A hard worker, Billy was well respected in the fishing industry, and he was a founding member of the Lakes Entrance Aboriginal Health Association Clinic. During the 90s, Billy owned an old green truck the family called Kermit, and he loved nothing more than going bush in Kermit to collect firewood for his family and pensioners. He spent a lot of time in the bush. Billy he would often go fishing for trout in the Alpines with his good mates Vincent Shaw Sr. and Mark King, and he also just loved sitting on the shore of the beach with the surf fishing rod in his hand. In the 90s, Billy took up woodwork again, and he wandered the bush collecting special wood needed for carving Aboriginal artefacts. He went on to make woodwork carvings for organisations, and he was commissioned to make individual pieces for anyone who asked. One of the pieces that he was most proud of was when Senior Sergeant Laylaw asked him to make him a wooden piece in the shape of Victoria for his retirement. Gardening was another love of Billy's. He spent many hours growing vegetables in the backyard of the family home. In the late 90s, Billy and Bev's marriage ended. Billy then moved around from state to state for a number of years before returning to Lakes, where he moved in with his oldest son, Darren, and family. He also spent time with Tracy and the boys, with Joanne and Kiora. More recently, Billy was living with Susie and her girls until his health began to deteriorate. This is when he moved into the Opal Nursing facility, and he could receive around-the-clock care. Billy had 17 grandchildren, the two eldest being Dominic, who was with Billy and Bev as a baby, and Monique, Billy's first granddaughter. Both were the apple of his eye. Billy really did love any time he got to spend with his grandchildren, telling them stories and showing them the assortment of whistles he could do through his hands. Through everything he faced, Billy remained deeply loved by his family and respected by his friends and our community. And for everyone gathered here today, there is comfort in knowing that his spirit now walks softly on country, guided by the ancestors, and he will always be remembered in the stories that we carry forward. Now everyone here today I know has memories and stories of Billy, and in a moment his family are going to come forward and share a few of those memories, and if anyone else would like to come forward, there is a chance to do so after that. But before I do invite them to share those memories that they have of their dad, I would like to invite you to take a trip down memory lane through some photos. There's been some great photos chosen today to a couple of great songs, and this is a lovely way to reflect on Billy's life, so please enjoy.
You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild and I'm free. You may wonder how I can promise you now this love that I feel for you always will be. But you're not just time that I'm killing. I'm no longer one of those guys. As sure as I live, this love that I give is gonna be yours until the day that I die. Oh baby, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men, if you wonder how long I'll be faithful, I'll be happy to tell you again. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. time takes its toll on the body, makes the young girl's brown hair turn gray. Well, honey, I don't care, I ain't in love with your hair. And if it all fell out, well, I'd love you anyway. They say time can play tricks on memory, make people forget things they knew. Well, it's easy to see, it's happening to me. I've already forgotten every woman but you. Oh, darling, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men. If you wonder how long I'll be faithful, but just listen to how this song ends. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, forever and ever, forever and ever, amen.
I see the bare moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times of day. Don't go around tonight, well, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. I hear hurricanes are blowing. I know the end is coming soon. I hear rivers overflowing. I hear the voice of rage and ruin. Don't go around tonight, well, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. Hooray. Hope you got your things together. Hope you can prepare today. Looks like we're in nasty weather. One night it's taking glory night. Well, don't go around tonight, well, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. Don't go around tonight, well, it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. A woman done left and took all the reason I was working for. You better not try to stand in my way as I'm walking out the door. Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. I've been working in this factory for now 15 years. All this time I watched my woman drowning in a pool of tears. And I've seen a lot of good folk die, had a lot of bills to pay. I'd give the shirt right off of my back if I had the guts to say, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. My woman done left and took all the reason I was working for. You better not try to stand in my way as I'm walking out the door. Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Well, that foreman, he's a regular dog. The line boss, he's a fool. Got a brand new flat top haircut. Lord, thinks he's cool. One of these days I'm gonna blow my top, and that sucker, he's gonna pay. Lord, I can't wait to see their faces when I get the nerve to say, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. My woman done left and took all the reason I was working for. You better not try to stand in my way as I'm walking out the door.
I'll take us some video footage just by yourself, honey, Mark.
I ain't working here no more. Take this job and shove it.
Some terrific photos there. Some very happy times with family and friends. Now we have a chance to hear from some family. I'm going to ask Susie and Darren and anyone else who would like to come up and maybe share some memories that they have of Billy.
I just want to start by saying happy birthday to my dad. Today, so I could probably go loud and just like that, but I'm really that up in the early. I just wanted to start off by saying happy birthday, Dad. We had a maybe celebration today, but unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. I just on the road when my dad was a big birthday celebrator, so I think this is probably the most recent year I've actually had one of his birthdays, so it's true. He never wanted to celebrate with it. They used to say he didn't want to get older, but when Dad looked me up, and I said that's pretty bad birthdays, so it's understandable they didn't want to celebrate, but here we are today, celebrating his birthday. Not in the way that we originally planned it. I'm one of the last kids, Mum had plans. And the first thing she said when she walked in the room that day was, "You weren't supposed to do this yet? You got 10 days. I was going to make you cake and make all your kids get together and come down and see because, you know, we don't always get along." And Mum was going to use his 80th birthday as a reason to get us kids together. And I said, I hate to say this, but Mum probably get a bit upset, but you actually went up to Mum for a change. You got in before you had actually got all the last kids together. Sadly, Jo's not here today. She couldn't be here. It's a bit hard for her to be with us. So she's here in spirit, and she'll be coming with us to New South to spread Dad's ashes. For those of you that don't know me, I am the youngest daughter, so a bit better than Billy. As a member of our family, the baby daughter, still. We've got and the baby son. That was our label on the day we were born. Whenever they talked to Mum, they talked about us as the baby son. When we were growing up, our house was really quiet. So there was something going on. Never for a moment. If we did, Mum would say, "Oh, I could find something to do." Mum, who was always organised and controlled. Then you had Dad, who was always a bit on the wild, uncontrollable side. Mum didn't like the water, and Dad was a man who couldn't be away from him. Dad not worried in the world except his next trip or quenching his thirst with his mates. And Mum being the warrior, the responsible help. It seemed like opposite attract sometimes. Dad was a bad boy. And Mum, an only child, had come from a quiet, restrictive household. Dad was a charmer, and from the get-go, he treated my mother with his wild, adventurous ways. Like every relationship, there were good and bad times. When I think back and I think reminiscing sweet, it was a lot of adventure, fun family times, laughter and love as well. I have many fond memories of running up and down the walks, owning fishing boats, travelling up and down the coast visiting family and collecting seafood. All of us playing cards around the table, dancing in the lounge with old records, stopping at every pub along our travels, where either the publican or someone in the pub like that. Wherever we went, there was always someone that needed it. Camping and our funds are out of the trust. And our collective firewood and camp at the truck, we seemed to always be off doing something as a family. My dad was a man of many skills, not just a big drinker, which is what he was well known for, but there was so much more to him than that. At a young age, he showed a natural skill for boxing. He was given the opportunity to become a professional boxer, but running around the bush hunting rabbits with family was more enticing for Dad than attending an interview with a well-known trainer. He started fishing for a living from a young age. He travelled around Australia fishing on many boats for many skippers. He could have become a skipper, but Dad always preferred the hands-on work, down on the deck with either a pole or net in his hands. My uncle Ernie tells me on the phone, he was the best tuna pole fisherman that he knows, and my uncle Ernie knows a lot of blood fishing around. He's been all around Australia just like my dad. And then fishermen, I'll tell you what, they might get to mention a number, but they can write off tons that they caught, on what day they caught it, what the season was like, who was on the boat, like they know every voyage they done. My little brother and I go up the mountains. My little brother and I go up mountains with Dad in the little old Datsun he had. My whole life I never once heard my dad keeping his driver's license. But it didn't stop him from driving around. From Kermit Little Frog to the Datsun, which earlier my read that you said wasn't his Datsun, it was her Datsun. You wouldn't think so, right? Because that just drove that. We used to go out the bush all the time, and we'd go to the house camping for a couple of days, we'd go trout fishing, and we'd try to keep up with Dad as he walked around the bush collecting particular wood he needed for his woodwork. Eventually, we've been watching as he carved out red, beautiful pieces from a piece of wood that we hadn't collected. Dad being a king fisherman, we spent a lot of time on beaches, lakes, rivers, anywhere Dad would catch a feed really. We would follow him up the beach, picking up the salmon as he was suction up them up. We spent countless hours collecting mussels and oysters along the coast, going out bush to catch nuggies and many days sitting on the beach while Dad had the surf ready. My dad could read the tides and the stars and he would let him up. He knew things about me all once, listened to him, his knowledge was so extensive. And it wasn't all fun and games on those family outings, so I lost count of how many times we'd get grouped when we tangled the fishing rods. We had to walk a particular way with the fishing rods, whether they were bounce rods. There was always certain rules that we had so we didn't tangle the rods, but that's still always an untangled. But I did mention what would be like without one of our family items, that being crabbing and growling around. Which brings me to the next story when we went camping, and he accused mum of poisoning me. We come up from fishing and he grabbed a quarter of water that mum put dishwashing liquid in. Before he did it, he had a big gulp of this dishwashing liquid. And then the next few hours from behind a tree, all we did was Dad curse mum. We wanted to pack up camp, in between vomiting and some other things, but I'm sure mum wanted to forget that camping trip. There was a few hours of mum being cursed about washing the too. But Dad could also build anything in his hands, and while I was clever, there were moments when we would question that. Mum tells us a story about when Dad had the idea to make a smoke box to smoke his trout. He thought of everything when making the smoke box, and it turned out pretty good. On finishing it though, he suddenly realised he hadn't backed it in, and he'd built it in the sunroom of the old house, and now it was too big to fit out the back door. So he had fun trying to remove the big large window frame just so he could get his smoke box out the back, but he got it out there, and we had some play with smoke trout. Dad also loved to hunt and had a pretty good aim. I remember on one road trip in the old bus we were coming back from New South Wales and Dad spotted some root. Next minute Mum's getting told to slow down, the rifle comes out, all of us kids get told to be quiet, stop moving around and be still. As we were driving along very slowly, Dad's got the rifle ready and aiming at the window. Bang! Gun goes off and Dad hits the roof. First shot. I'll never forget it, because Dad goes, collects the roof, the back door slides over, Dad chucks the roof out, big blood squirts across the roof of the bus. We then had to travel another couple hours back home with that kangaroo at our feet, we let it pass the eyes. And I stopped eating kangaroo after a few experiences with Dad and his hunting. It's not nice watching him fix them up. And bring back home baby Chinese as well, we had all the food they made. When I was around 9 years old, when Dad finally returned, 9 months old, sorry, when Dad finally returned home after his fishing race, but Mum tells me that he used to climb up the frame and held the pins in face to his leg. When I look at the photos, it was like a cringe. I think, how the hell did he handle me at 9 months climbing up that? And I was the biggest baby out of all of us, I was a little chunky one. But that was my dad, tough as nails and staunch as they come. He'd tell me stories of a big tuna pole hook in his hand from the tuna poles and continue in unfolding tuna. Even in his later years living with me, when he would help before, it's hard to know how much damage he'd actually done to himself because of how hard his pain for a shoulder was. He broke his hip when he was 23. The fishing accident was a horrible time for Dad and Mum, but I think because of that I got to spend more time bonding with Dad when I was little. I was definitely a daddy's girl. When I was born and was finally in hospital, Dad had to stop at the pub and Lake Centrals to take me in there and show me to his mates at the pub. My first outing as a newborn was to the pub. But Mum told me that story seemed fitting for my family, because if you knew my dad, you would know that my dad loved the cold wine and fuel at the pub. And this seemed to set the scene for my life. I'm sure all of my siblings would have some sort of story about Dad in the pub, and I know Darren was an excellent pool, excellent darts. We spent down with Dad and bring home trophies, both of them. There were plenty of times when Mum would send us kids to collect Dad from the pub and tell him it was time to come home, but poor Mum would end up having to come and get us all out. Our kids saw the pub was a great place to run amok in. When Dad being victory for the house was rarely empty or quiet. There were always extras staying with us for Dad's mates having a couple of beers with Dad. Mum tells me about the three amigos, Dad, Rexy, Peanut, and Uncle Barry and Matt, who were all good mates and wild at heart. The three of them fished together for years. When Dad first started seeing Mum, the other amigos weren't too happy about this new woman taking their mates' attention. Uncle Barry and Matt was not impressed at all with Mum at first and would start the arguments with Mum. Mum was saying that her and him would start arguing, Dad would just get sick of it and walk away from him and leave him to art. But eventually Uncle Barry realised Mum wasn't going anywhere, and Mum realised he was going to follow Dad everywhere. So they slowly become friends, and then the tables turned, and Uncle Barry used to stick up for Mum and growl at Dad, which never went down well. Dad and Uncle Barry were inseparable, and rarely saw one without the other. Think back on them times and think my mum had applications of an angel, because them two would not have been easy to do. There were a lot of good times, and there were also some really hard times. And that same time, is an incredible and so really emotional. Well, I never could manage this even that was my mum and Dad. Dad realised it's a little too late, and Uncle spoke to me about that being his family friend in class. They split up when I was in my early teens, and from there the family changed. Dad went on the wanders with Darren, who spot mine, and went back to New South for a little while. The decision to leave New South Wales was made for him when an incident with the boys in blue showed up and found Bruiser, a family dog, sitting in Dad's garden, special tomato plants as he liked to call them. Dad decided to head back to Victoria after that and see the family before he named us out of Australia for a couple of years without his place stopped. Apparently was true. Dad returned back to Lakes in the early 2000s. And in his later years had a chance to live with all of his children again in their adult lives, giving him the chance to reconnect and make up for his time over the years. At the end of 2018, I moved out to Trust, and I said if he wanted to move with me. At the time I was working on House and Children's Services. I thought I was probably in a better position to help Dad manage his health conditions as he started to get an early age and was having trouble with his memory. Over the years, with Dad's drinking, Mum and Dad's divorce, and periods of time in contact, I informed from me and Daddy's girl to feel so disconnected from him. So when I asked him to move with me, it wasn't just for me to help him. I wanted a chance to reconnect with my father, and a chance for my daughters to get to be part of their good father that I remember so clearly as a child. As a little girl, I really was my hero, my protector. From the shadow monsters behind my bedroom door, which I was always going to wake him up and go to come and kill the monsters behind the door. If I wasn't getting in their bed, because I'm not trying to get in the bed. The man who gave me a strong sense of identity when I came home from school crying after being picked on about not being approved. As an adult, I wanted to understand the man behind the decisions he'd made in his life. I wanted to hear stories that as a young girl I didn't understand. I wanted to hear what his childhood was like. I got that and so much more. Every morning he'd get up, make his coffee, go out front for his smoke, fix fresh bread and cedar, and the bed feed and stand there for a couple of minutes staring at it like I was telling them the other day, you know what fish were jumping down the lake and everything, and I believe that because it's a season for fishes. Didn't go that much from a fisherman, did I? He loved living up just in the hills. He's brought back memories of his early years of Bradley. He thought a lot about Mummy when she used to live with us, and we talked about it with the girls on me at least a couple of times a week. He realised the mistakes he'd made in his life and came to his family, and often expressed to me and the girls that it was a pain he had to live with for the rest of his life, but he could never stop loving it. He had been in the trust for a while, about 7 to 4 more frequently. One of these falls, he broke his hip after it got worse. Because I worked, my girls had to help, and Molly really stepped up a lot to help. She would go every day, broke his hip, and make sure he did exercise, and he'd be proud. And with the little black thing under it, and she'd say, "Oh, you have to do the exercise, keep walk again." I could see he was struggling with having a meeting. And one of the girls was proud of him. He was always a proud man for your dad. You could see it was breaking his heart. So a difficult decision was made to move to the nursing home. This was a really hard decision, but I knew it was the best thing for Dad. But have her in the book and be safer. That time my daughter and I went to school with him. Will always be precious to us. I'm thankful I got to reach her. I've said more about the man he was. They much taught us how to just about a deadly relationship. To me, they were never like fuck. Death was one of a kind. So happy I get birthday out for it. I hope we keep him up there, right in my hand, holding him up. With his belly and his pulse in mind, because he always had to leave his back too when he got on the way. I hope you just keep him back enjoying his ache and pain and carefree without my brother.
He was definitely a character to grow up with. I remember a lot. We were always dancing. I don't know how many times Dad and I got up to dance. It was only a few years back when he was living with Susie. You could see he was starting to fail in that. And that's sort of dragged him. He said, "Come on, Dad, you're not going to be able to do this much longer. You can get up and have one more dance with me before you won't. You won't be able to." And he did. He got up and had a dance with me. But I spent most of my childhood, every weekend Dad would want to go out to the bush camping. Had to go with him. The wood, he'd want to go out on his own, but no. I'm slapping guts out thinking, no, the boys are not going, they don't work, I want to get out there with you. So I spent so much time out getting wood, fishing, and even that camping trip. I think that was the one we got up there and Dominic fell in the lake nearly around. And getting towards the end of it, we ended up having to come home. As in one day it started out nice and sunny, turned into blowing a gale. Then it started to rain. By the time we packed up and headed home, it started to snow. It'd taken him years. It'd been promising me for years he was going to take me to Timbara trout fishing. Finally got there and had to go home. But yeah, he was always full of life. There was never a boring moment with him. And yeah, we did a lot together. They were speaking on every weekend, as if they were watching the Swans with him. We were both huge Swans fans. And then told me they would go to the game, have fun. I was looking, I said, only 10 more days, Dad, I'm home. You've just got to stick around for 10 more days for me. And yeah, 5 days later I got the call. Yeah, I loved to dance. Always had music going. There was never a day that didn't have music going. Yeah, definitely going to miss him. Yeah, I'm going to say without him. Happy birthday, Dad.
Like he really was
pretty much with him everywhere he went, from very young age. So I probably say more things that a young man should say, a young boy should say. And for me, growing up with him, he was always, always saying that's my hero. But he was a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass, I like to say that he was a man that couldn't reach it or lecture to, but the first part was probably not true. He was wild and free, and the songs that we've listened to today, there's so many phrases and lyrics from them songs that describe him to the T. He was wild and free. Once he'd made up his mind, you couldn't disagree with it. Like to take advantage of that a little bit, was that open? I had a lot of good times with Dad over the years, lots of great memories. He was a hard man, even a harder worker, and I'm sure there's probably a few men out there that probably wish they'd never met him. But there's a lot of people out there that do remember him. They remember he would give anyone a shirt off his back. He would do anything for anyone. He was one that always stuck up for others, I mean, in the early days when he was in Port Lincoln as a fisherman, he didn't feel like that, the deckies and workers on boats and that were being treated rightfully, so he took it upon himself to feel like that he needed that fisherman deckhands on trawlers and boats, not just in Port Lincoln but everywhere around the country, that they needed a union. And there were a lot of people out there that didn't like that. And as a result, there was a few envelopes sent to Mum in the mail with bullets in them. And that was kind of the life that he lived. And he didn't back down from anyone. He never would. And he showed that right up to the last minute. And there's probably a lot of people that could be here today, and I know they would have loved to have been. There's a lot of loved ones and a lot of friends that aren't here today with Dad. So Bugger looks more handsome today than he did 3 weeks ago. I half expected him to say something dirty or say something inappropriate. I know I spent some time with him at the hospital there early in the year. It was just like telling off a little boy who just wouldn't stop every time a nurse would come around here and just say something. It's inappropriate there. But he wouldn't care, he'd still continue to be himself. And I think that's the biggest thing I'll take away from the old man is that, always be yourself. Don't worry about what other people think. So happy birthday, old man. I love you. And I know about resting in peace, you've got to run amongst some of these. Probably drinking, chasing women, fishing probably didn't last. But yeah, I love you, old man. I know you'll always be able to remember, so yeah. Rest in peace, Dad.
Thanks for coming forward and sharing those. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and share anything today? No, it's not an easy thing to do. Everyone here has, as I mentioned earlier, memories and stories of times spent with Billy, and a lovely way to continue to share those memories is to remain behind when we do conclude. We will be taking Billy's coffin out to the hearse and we'll be waving him goodbye, and then I know his family will invite you to join them back in the hall here for refreshments. There's plenty of food, I'm told. You might even get to take some home with you today. There's plenty of food, and there's a hot cup of tea and coffee up the back there, and it's a lovely way to continue celebrating his life. Another way to continue reflecting on those memories is to sit quietly while we enjoy a song, and there's been a reflective song chosen today, Silver Wings by Mel Haggard. It's a beautiful song just to sit quietly and reflect on your memories of Billy.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight, roaring engines headed somewhere flat. They're taking you away and leaving me lonely. Silver slowly fading out of sight. Don't leave me after ride. Don't make that airplane cry. But you locked me out of your mind and left me standing here behind. Silver wings shining in the sunlight, roaring engines headed somewhere flat. They're taking you away and leaving me lonely. Silver wings slowly fading out of sight. Silver wings shining in the sunlight, roaring engines headed somewhere flat. They're taking you away and leaving me lonely. Silver wings slowly fading out of sight. Slowly fading.
Today we have paid tribute to a man who lived a simple life, who loved to have a laugh, and who has shared some great times with you all. Family was everything to Billy, and friends were like family, and he knew how lovely it was to have so many people who loved him, stood by him and supported him. And just as much, you were all lucky to have had Billy, a man who showed what it means to keep going, to stay true to yourself, and most importantly to hold tight the people who mean the most. As we prepare to say our final farewell to Billy, we remember that his spirit does not leave us completely. His spirit returns to country, to the land that holds the stories of his people and the footsteps of his ancestors. May the Creator watch over him on this journey. May the old people welcome him home. May his spirit find peace. And for those of us who remain, may we hold on to the love, the laughter and the memories that Billy gave us. May we walk gently with one another, care for one another, and may his memory remain strong in the hearts of his family and community. I'd like to share the Lord's Prayer, and I invite those who wish to please join me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, today has been a day full of fond and loving memories and will be remembered for many reasons, but mainly I hope it will be remembered as a very special day in which you are able to pay your last respects and say a fond farewell to a man you were all privileged to have known. One final poem, which is on the inside cover of your order of service, fittingly titled Fishing Hole in the Sky, are words I feel certain Billy would want you all to know. When I come to the end of the horizon and enter the other shore, remember me with fondness, cry for me no more. I have found my final resting place, that special spot to fish. Remember the times that we shared, you too I will miss. This is the journey I must take, and I must go alone. Know that my heart is with you as I take this journey home. To that final fishing hole for fishermen like me, to tell the biggest fishing tales about the one that got away. Remember me with fondness, this is not goodbye, it is till we meet again at the fishing hole in the sky. Thank you for being here today, ladies and gentlemen. Billy would have loved knowing that his life touched so many people. May his spirit dance in the dream time, and may the ancestors welcome him home.
Please follow the sound of the hole.
I can hear calling me back home. I can hear the ripple of a mountain stream. See the sunsets in my every dream. I can smell the scent of fresh cooked Johnny cakes and hear the cooey of the rain. I can hear calling me back home.
Where did you get the trouble?